Right, and we're in. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's topic to talk about is all about goals and setting goals. And the reason that this episode came about was that I'm still currently on holiday in Barbados, and I've had messages from a lot of people asking about some help with their business. And the first thing I say to them is, what's the goal? And 99% of people that I speak to, they've got no answer. They've got no firm, definitive, I want to get to X, I want to get to this position or that place. And they actually look at me as a bit of a dickhead for going, what do you mean, what's my goal? I don't know, just want to do a bit of this, do a bit of that. You know, very, very vague and no actual set structure of going, right, I want to get to this position. What is it going to take? You know, what do I need to do to actually do that? And I think that's so important that you need proper, solid goals. And a lot of you listening to this, what we're going to unpack in this episode is how to set goals and why you should set them, and really, you know, what it's all about. Because otherwise, you know, a man without a goal is just aimlessly plodding along and going through life and just seeing what gets handed to him. Whereas a man on the attack with a firm goal and going, right, I am fucking going there and I will do whatever it takes to get to that position because that's what I want and that's what I really know that I want to achieve out of my life, then nothing will fucking stop me. And there's a stark difference there between the two character types that's going to be. You do not want to be the guy that's just plodding along. No one wants to plod along. I've never ever wanted to plod along in my life. I've always wanted to be locked on 100% solid. Every goal, set it and it's attainable, and you go all in on that goal. If you're not going all in on the goal, then the goal's not right for you in the first place. You know, you've got to be setting goals that you really genuinely want, which I think that's something that people actually really struggle with, is going, right, what do I actually want? But when you get to that point and you work out, right, this is exactly what I want, it's a massive stark contrast, like I say, of effort, application, and grit, really, to go after those goals. So, starting off, you know, to highlight the importance of goals, I've always used goals in my life. Everything, every single thing has been goal orientated onto, right, I want to achieve this. And you can apply that to anything. And to give you an overview and a story, whenever I've done anything such as something like a marathon, right, it's a 26-mile race, right, I've done a couple of them now. It's predefined, determined, it's 26 miles, it is what it fucking is. There's a start line, there's a finish line. You have to train to do that distance. That distance is locked in, so you work backwards for a training plan to get you to be able to do that distance. You wouldn't be doing 2-mile runs when you know you've got to run 26 miles on a race. Equally, you're not going to be running 30-mile races or training runs to do a 26-mile race. It doesn't make sense. The same applies to every single goal that you've got, whether it's business, personal. If you've got a target and an aim that you're hitting for, you can work backwards and build a plan to actually make that come to life and actually come to fruition. Because I think a lot of people set loose goals, especially New Year's people. You know, it's very common. New Year's Eve, set loads and loads of goals that are just pulled out of your arse with no actual substance or meaning or back into actually what those goals are for. It's just very in the moment of hyperness of New Year, and just, you know, this is what everyone does. They set a goal and then 2 weeks later they're not actually going through with it. Real goals you will follow for months, years, maybe even decades to achieve. That's what a real goal is. So if you don't have a goal, you're always going to be just aimlessly going through life, not making the right decisions based on goals. You're just going to be on the back foot all of the time. You're not going to have real proof and momentum on gaining what you're trying to gain. You know, in a business, you don't want to just be plodding along. You know, nothing stays still. You're either growing or you're dying. It's as simple as that. Your business is either growing in terms of top line revenue, in terms of your team, in terms of net profit, in terms of productivity, in terms of processes, in terms of systems, in terms of enjoyment out of that business. Same as in your life, you're either getting fitter, fatter, healthier, more disease, you know, better relationships with your kids or worse relationships with your kids, better relationships with your wife or worse relationship with your wife. Nothing sits perfectly still harmoniously like a perfect, solid, straight, solid line. It's either growing or dying. And if you don't set goals, you are likely going to be more in the camp of just more on the dying phase than growing and going after the attack. Whereas when you set up a business, you do it to get more out of life, whether that's financially for you, whether that's like time freedom for you, whether that's choices for you, maybe whether that's investing for you, whatever it is. You're in business for a reason, and you don't want to be in the camp of stagnation and going backwards. You've always got to be pushing yourself forwards and move forwards. It's something that you can't stop. You have to always keep moving forward. Whereas if you do have the right goals in a business and for your personal life as well, you've got a plan. The plan comes from that, and the focus comes from that, and the attack comes from that. That's the first level of having all of that, and not having focus and structure and knowing what you're going after. Like I put it up on my Instagram stories earlier. It's at Dean Barton Real if you don't follow me on Instagram yet. That man is happiest on the hunt and the climb to the top of Everest. You know, everyone's got to have an Everest that they're going after for. There's a big peak in the mountain that you're shooting for, you're aiming for, that you're looking at, and that's where you want to get to. And without that, you're just plodding along. You know, whereas when you know you've got to reach a certain distance, a certain height, a certain milestone, a certain target, a certain figure, you're fueled up, you're locked up because that's what you signed up to do, and you're fucking pushing on to actually make that goal happen. So you feel actually content when you've got a goal. You feel happiest when you've got a goal. You feel more driven when you've got a goal. But it's really about what you want. And it's got to be a goal that you really, really want for yourself, not what someone else wants, not based on someone else's life, not what you think will make other people happy. The goals have got to be based around what you really want. And what I like to do is just categorize them into 3 equal, nice little buckets. So it's nice and easy. First off is your wealth, because everything costs money. Even if you want to give money to charity, you need the money to be able to do that. If you want to retire your parents, you're going to need money to do that. If you want to buy a nice car, you're going to need money to do that. If you want to put your kids through good education, you're going to need money to do that. If you want to go on nice holidays, you're going to need money to do that. If you want to have a better team, a better company, you're going to need money to do that. If you want more people to know you, you want to get more customers, you're going to need more money to do that. The financial basis is the strongest point and foundation of everything that you want. Some people have got fucked up relationships with money, that they say all this bollocks like it's not all about the money doesn't make you happy, all sorts of just UK-wide bullshit. But you need money to do absolutely everything. Everything costs money. You know, even going to the cinema now is 100 quid for a family of 4. Money is the ground basis, essential piece that you need locked in your business and your personal life. You need a lot of money. You need a lot more than what you think as well. You need a shit ton more. So it comes down to first a wealth goal, a financial goal. What goal are you trying to hit in terms of both business and personal? Now, the business might be a top line revenue figure that you want to hit because that equates into a net profit that you can hit. And obviously there is a lot in the middle of that between top line revenue and net profit of the performance of the company, your efficiency, the way you're pricing, your cash flow, your job management. There's a lot into that middle phase, what's going to affect and impact that. So you want to be looking heavily at, right, okay, top line, this is the goal that we want to hit. And bottom line, how do we improve that to actually ensure that we've got better net profits throughout the business? And that's got to be based on where you want the business to be. It's got to be based on what sort of company do you want to be? What sort of marketplace share do you want to have? You know, it's not all about being the biggest and the baddest. It's not also about being the smallest and the most unknown. You know yourself what type of business you want. But I think as we set into personal goals, you're going to realize what size of business you're going to need to grow in order to unlock the personal goals that you're going to have. So with wealth, it's like, okay, business goals, top line, net profitability, the money essence of the business. But in terms of a personal income, if you like, from that business, you've always got to be aware that anytime you draw money out of the business, it's costing you pretty much 50%, you know, rounded up, depending on your exact tax position and the level of money that you're doing. It's always a safe figure to hedge your bets that 50% is going to go to the government. So if you want to be in a position of earning 10 grand a month clean money for you, tax paid, you're going to need to be drawing out like 20 grand from the business in terms of corporation tax and personal income tax exposure and rates that you're going to have to pay. So you've got to have a business that can support paying out 20 grand a month, which you do not want to be drawing out all the profits from a company, because that's one sure way of making the company very volatile and unstable. You really want a company to be, you draw out 50% of the net profits and you keep 50% of the net profits in, you reinvest back into the business, and you keep growing the business to keep evolving it and keeping it in a very strong cash position. It is pointless earning money in a business and stripping out all the cash, because you are putting yourself in a fucked position, especially if something happens like a COVID or a war or anything that might impact material delays, invoicing delays on jobs, you name it. If a shitstorm comes and you're not prepared, you haven't got cash in a business, you're going to be fucked. So if you work on those ratios and you work out what money that you want to earn, starting with the money that you would like to have yourself personally, you need to double that for your tax provision, and then you need to double it again for splitting profits 50-50 between keeping them in the company and taking them out for you yourself. If you do that and you work on that maths, you're always going to be on a really good, strong position. So that should start to help you plan, right, what net profits do you actually want the company to make? Which in then turn makes, right, what top line revenue do we need to be doing to ensure that and to make that happen? So that's the first bucket, is like your wealth and your financial money. And the next one is going to be your health. You've always got to be improving your health as a goal. I think everyone should have a health goal as well as a financial goal at all times. And whether that is literally dropping a few pounds in weight, whether that for you is actually entering an event or a race or something as a challenge, as a mental challenge. I've always liked doing stuff like that as a mental challenge, because I want to push myself and push all the boundaries on every single level. And that's why I've done things like marathons, I've done an Ironman, I've done a whole host of big stuff, and it pushes you mentally. And I think that's really important with construction, the industry. Mental health is a massive issue. Mental health and well-being is all improved by physical. I 100% back that and believe that. So I think you should have some sort of physical goal that if you do nothing at the minute, you're doing nothing, you don't take care of what you eat, you don't take care of any sort of exercise, setting the goal of just doing something, you need to set some sort of goal and follow through on that goal that's important to you, because it's not just the way you look, it is exactly that. It's your mindset, it's your mental health, but it's your fucking health as well. You don't want to be the person that at 50 you're diabetic, you've got fucking all sorts of things going on, you're taking 12 tablets a day, you're fat as fuck, you can't pick up the kids, you can't get in and out of the car properly. Come on, it's about your basic health as well. So you've got to look at it and set a goal for you, justified why you want to do that as well, your reasoning for that. Having a health goal is so important. So financial goal first, health goal second, and then lastly is relationships goal. And relationships basically is all across all areas. So there's going to be key relationships you're going to need in business, and there's going to be key relationships you need to work on in your personal life as well. And actually one of the first things that I say to people that ask for help in their business, one of the first things I say is, what's your personal life like? And that throws people off massively, because they're like, why the fuck do you want to know that? And I guarantee you, I know for sure that if your personal life is in order, your business life is going to be better. You cannot make business decisions and make good decisions if your personal life is in chaos, if there is arguments between you and the missus, there's problems at home with the kids, there's problems with friends that are maybe dragging you down, maybe they're, just lazy excuse makers, they're dragging you down, bad relationships, bad inputs, that's going to have an effect on you. So you need to have relationship goals. And firstly, in the business camp, right, what relationships do you need to make? What relationships do you need to make right now? And think about this, as I'm actually saying this and you're listening along to this, what relationships can you make that's going to move the needle forward in terms of, one, getting work? Is that for you architects, collaborations? Is it new clients? Is it specific people that would be very good ambassadors for your company? Is it staff that you could potentially recruit? Do you need to start making relationships with people that are going to be your next hires within the business? Is there relationships you need to make with strategic people to actually help you move along? Is there relationships with people that, like apprentices, or agents for new offices. You know, there's always going to be a relationship you are going to need for the next step and the next move in the business that you're in right now. So you need to always identify that and go, right, who am I going to need? Because everything that you want is always going to come from a relationship. So viewing it as going, right, what relationships do I need next in business, and looking ahead of time, not just looking at what you've got today. You know, the art of being a good business owner, a good entrepreneur, is looking ahead to the vision of where you want the business to be, not looking at it today as you see it, looking down at the mud maybe, and looking down at all the jobs you've got on and all the shit you've got on your plate and all the hassle you've got on. You need to be in the mode of making decisions based on where you want to be. And it's always going to come back to relationships. But then if you know in your hearts of hearts that you have got issues at home with your missus, you need to tackle that and solve that shit now. You need to take appropriate action to resolve those issues. If you've got issues with a particular friend who's always dragging you down, you know, you see the phone ringing, you don't want to answer it, or, you know, it's always a message that's always drama and bollocks, you need to tackle that now and actually set that as a relationship goal to either eradicate that relationship or say what you need to say to solve that relationship, or whatever it is you're going to need to do to have some sort of relationships goal. You know, and that's just the way to look at it, because it's always going to be evolving. You're always going to have issues with certain members of staff, certain people you know. You're always going to be evolving. It's exactly what I said to begin with. You're either sitting still or you're growing. And as you grow, you're going to have more and more new relationships in your life, and certain relationships are going to tail off. That's just facts of life. It's how it is. So that's how I look at goals all the time. I've always got a financial goal. I've always got a health goal, and I've always got a relationships goal that I'm working to. And that's what works for me. And I think it will really help you as well. Just to go, right, health, wealth, relationships, let me have a goal on each thing that's really relevant to you and what you want, okay? And look, guys, I just want to say, goals are unique to you. It's so unique to you. It's literally down to what you want. Some people are very happy with less than others. Some people are very happy with a lot more. They want a lot more. They're a lot more driven. They want the fucking world. It's all down to you. You know, you can literally design your own life and build the business around the lifestyle that you want. I've got people that I work with that are very content working on the tools, but they've had to understand that to grow the business and get the money that they want for the life that they want, they've had to take that down to like 2 days a week on the tools and actually spending the rest of the time running their business and jobs. I've then got other people that want much far greater, bigger goals, and they've had to come off the tools completely to be able to facilitate hitting those goals. And then you've got other people that are quite happy earning really good money, working for themselves, and you know that's what they want, and because that allows them to earn the level that they want. If they had bigger goals for that, if they had bigger financial goals for that, they wouldn't be able to do it. Obviously, it then becomes about your time freedom as well and your choice freedom, and building a business that gives you that really as well, of not having to be on site or managing jobs or looking at jobs. You know, it's very, very different, and a very different business you need to build in order to do that. So it's very unique to you. And what I recommend, and this is something that I do, really works for me, is odd times throughout the week, spending an hour to yourself and just actually really thinking about what goals you want for yourself. What next? You know, what do you want your life to look like? How much money do you actually want to earn? What people do you want in your life? Where do you want to be physically? Are you happy with what you've currently got? If not, you know there's work to be done. And a lot of times setting goals is actually a lot about what you don't want. Because I know a lot of you really fucking struggle with this. You really struggle to go, right, what do you actually want? And sometimes it's easier to go, right, what don't you want? What really don't you want? You know, do you want to be skint? No. Do you want a company that just survives? No. Well, then by default, you want the opposite. You want a really flourishing company. You want a company that's growing and it's going forward. Do you want to be fat and unhealthy? No. Well, then by definition, you want to be fit and healthy. So there's a gap there. You need to work on what that is. And do you want relationships with people that don't push you, don't challenge you, don't raise you up, don't make you become a better person? If that's no, then by definition, you want people around you that are fucking hungry, going to push you, probably tell you the truth and the honesty that might hurt a little bit, which is very valuable to have that person in your corner. And you want people that actually fucking lift you up and raise your game up. So sometimes working out what you don't want is an easier way of going, right, that's the goals that I'm going to set and that's what I want. But you have to spend the time on it to really think about it and sit on it, because If you just pull fucking goals out of your ass, sorry, 2 weeks in and times gets tough, you reach a challenge, you'll cave. And this is what everyone does, because they've set goals that are not specific to them and what you really want. And what you really want and where you really want to be in life, okay, and with your business. So really spend the time to do it. And the only person that can do that is you. No one can force you to do that. You have to decide what you actually want for your own life, be responsible for your own life, and then get after it. And don't ever stop. And that's what it's all about. So I hope that's been useful for you guys to actually understand, right, setting some goals and how important it is. I don't want any of you listening to this, because I know if you're listening to this, you're a particular type of person that wants a bit more. The person that listens to a podcast or watches stuff like this about the specifics of construction industry and the business and being a successful person, if you like, that person wants more. I know you're listening to this, you want a bit more on some level, but the fog is in deciphering what that extra is, what problems you've currently got in the business, what gaps you've got in the business to allow you to get to where you want to be, to where you want to hit your fucking goals. I know the person listening to this, you want more on some level. So you need to do the work yourself. You need to set yourself the goal this week of setting an hour aside to go, right, that's goal setting time, no phone, no distractions, no nothing. You completely on your own, pen to paper, and actually write down some goals and actually what you want to get. And it's, you know, it's quite easy. Anything that you want has got a cost to it. You need to find out the cost, work out the costs, and actually work backwards from there and go, right, okay, in order for me to have this, this is the top line figure I need to hit, which results in a net profit figure that I need to hit. And then off you go, and you just get to work and form a plan around that. So I hope that's been useful, guys. If you are someone who firstly struggles with goals, or secondly, you've got a goal and you're not sure how to hit it, what I do with construction entrepreneurs is help business owners get to the next level. It is for construction-based businesses that want to grow, want to be more profitable, and want to get to that next level to hit the goals that you've got. If you need help with that and you are that person, all you need to do is drop me a DM on Instagram. It's at Dean Barton Real. Drop me a DM and I will send you a voice note or a message back, and we can have a quick chat about how that works and how that looks. So if you're a driven person and you want to get ahead, drop me a DM now. Like I say, it's at Dean Barton Real. And this podcast goes out, there's 2 or 3 a week. They go out on all the platforms. It's also on YouTube as well as a video. I know that some of you learn in different ways and you like different stuff. So it's at Dean Barton Real on YouTube as well. And that's it for today. So I will see you on the next one.